Give the call to the member for Goldstein.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, on the morning of the 7th of October 2023, young men and women danced at the sunrise at the Nova Dance Festival. Farmers woke at the kibbutz in southern Israel. But the peace was broken by Hamas terrorists who abused the trust of those they deliberately built with to launch attacks, horrific attacks, that is now counted as the biggest loss of Jewish life since the Holocaust. Women, men, children and babies were murdered. Women were raped, mutilated and paraded. 2 years on, 48 hostages remain in Gaza, among them a 19-year-old woman, others as old as 85. It's quite simple. Bring them home. October 7 should never have happened, but it certainly should have been the end. But it was the beginning. On October 8, we had protests on the steps of the Sydney Opera House of those celebrating the attacks. Shortly after that, we had intimidation in Princes Park outside Central Shul in the Goldstein electorate. Left unchecked, the crisis of anti-Semitism spread across Australia and is lived by Jewish Australians from abuse, graffiti to fire bombings. There's no place for anti-Semitism in Australia, nor should international conflicts become the basis for targeting our fellow citizens. Since then, we have had an aggressive, and we need to acknowledge at times successful, global propaganda effort to delegitimise Israel, defending its national security and defending the interests of its citizens by a terrorist organisation, Hamas. Many Australians of good intention, of course, are looking at the situation overseas and disgusted at the rise of anti-Semitism at home, struggling to understand the impact of these events and the impact they've had. To those Australians, I recommend reading a book, Ruptured, Jewish Women in Australia, that reflect on the life post-October 7, edited by Lee Kaufman and Tamar Pudic. And I recommend it because so many people are trying to make sense of these events and understand the impact it's had on Australians. It brings home how our fellow Australians have felt in the months and the years since October 7. In her chapter, In Case I Ever Get Kidnapped, Tamar Pudic wrote, "I have never felt my identities as a mother and a Jew activated as powerfully and urgently as in these times. The world in which I was once fluid and comfortable feels alien and untrustworthy." Gemma Montang wrote in Nana's Bracelet that she had made an active decision to conceal her Jewish identity to protect my safety and mental health. Other contributors, like Noah Gomberg, wrote that, frankly, I'm not sure why or how the queer community grew so vulnerable to Hamas propaganda, considering they routinely slaughter us in Gaza, or how it has become popular to accessorise kippahs with pride pins. This deep sense of betrayal. In addressing some of the issues of re-traumatisation, particularly from the Holocaust, Danny Vallant wrote in her chapter on open hiding, "I used to feel the same as my brother. We did not suffer intergenerational trauma. But I have realised it was waiting in my blood. My cells seized with it and they have not eased. The rhetoric around the Hamas attacks and the Israeli response has been like screams in my face." In her chapter, Sienna Einfeld, in her chapter on North of the River, wrote explicitly about the betrayal she's experienced. On December 18, 2023, shortly after the attacks, Darebin City Council, which has never once passed a motion about any other foreign conflict, pushed through a motion solely condemning Israel for the war it did not start. The motion did not once mention the killing spree of October 7. It did not acknowledge the plight of the hostages, nor the mass sexual violence perpetuated by Hamas against Israeli girls and women. In her chapter, Melinda Jones, in The Crack and the Light, wrote, "It was particularly painful to see how the feminist movement, including many of my friends, responded to October 7. They took two inconsistent positions, one involving justification of what happened and the other of denial. Men were the violators, women were the victims of horrific sexual violence. It was not so long ago that rape in war was recognised as a war crime. As the world is reminded annually on the International Day for the Elimination of Sexual Violence and Conflict. But according to some of my feminist ex-friends, rape is resistance. Somehow the women who were abused deserved it." In her chapter, Simone Wine wrote of the women in the arena and how it's inspired her. "One thing I never realised is the true arena isn't a place you enter deliberately for glory. The arena chooses you. I will continue to fight, not just for myself, but for my children, for my people, for our future in Australia, because history has shown us time and time again the cost of silence. Rabbi Jack Landino and the Still We Dance chapter said, "It takes great courage to believe that there will be a better tomorrow."
I give the call to the Minister.